Trump's revenge campaigns against his political enemies have all flopped as his unqualified appointees continue failing to secure indictments. Now, in the case Trump ordered the Justice Department to make against the six Democratic lawmakers who appeared in a video, remember, reminding members of the military that they are forbidden by law from obeying illegal orders. Federal prosecutors led by the corrupt Judge Janine failed to persuade even a single member of the grand jury to return an indictment. And now, a reporter for the New Republic, Greg Sargent, reports that even prosecutors weren't sure what law they might have broken. This is an amazing revelation. It would be very easy to laugh this off, though, and turn it into a big joke. But the consequences of doing that are too serious because of what's going on here is extremely corrupt and extremely illegal. And if we just laugh it away, then we're not taking the danger seriously enough. Now, some of you may be upset, and no doubt are, that I dared to call Judge Janine corrupt, but I have a valid reason for doing so. I wouldn't do that if I couldn't substantiate it. And that's because she actually obeyed an illegal order from the president to indict these people, even though she knew, and everyone in the Justice Department knew, they hadn't committed any crime. Because how can it be a crime to remind people to obey the law? And that's all they did. Remember, they reminded members of the military that they are under a law which says you can't obey an illegal order. That's the law of the military.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
and the intelligence community
who take risks each day
to keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens.
like us. You all swore an oath
to protect and defend this Constitution.
And right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
but from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law
or our Constitution.
We know this is hard.
And that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
The Army,
Our Navy,
The Air Force.
Your vigilance is critical.
and know that we have your back.
because now, more than ever,
The American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws.
our Constitution,
And who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
don't give up.
don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
They reminded them of the law. And the Justice Department, because Trump ordered them to, tried to indict them for that and tried to turn it into some kind of crime. So not only is she corrupt because she obeyed an illegal order from the president, but the lawyers who went into this case and appeared before the grand jury are corrupt as well, because even they knew no crime had been committed. So take a look at this article from Raw Story. Trump prosecutors were asked which law Democrats broke, and they couldn't name even one. They couldn't name a single law that was broken. And that's how you know they're corrupt, because even though they couldn't name a single law, they went into court anyway and tried to convict these people of crimes and send them to jail for not committing any crime. They tried to send innocent people to jail. That's corrupt, and it's illegal. But check this out. The New Republic's Greg Sargent reported that even prosecutors weren't sure what law they might have broken. Here's what happened, Sargent writes. He says, after the FBI communicated with the Democratic lawmakers, prosecutors in Piro's office reached out to them to follow up. Slotkin's attorney, Senator Slotkin from Michigan, her attorney directly asked prosecutors what statute the Democrats had allegedly violated to prompt the criminal inquiry. The prosecutors could not name any statute, the sources told me. They couldn't. Imagine this. What crime are you charging my client with? Lips are sealed. Silence. Don't know. Can't say. Because there isn't one. It's not a crime to remind people to obey the law. It's not a crime to remind people what the law of the land is. It's not a crime to remind members of the military what the law of the military is. It's not a crime. So to go into court and try to send people to jail when you know good and well they haven't committed a crime, and the proof that you know is the fact that you can't tell anybody what the crime is. But you go into court, you go into the grand jury room, and you try to secure an indictment against these people, putting their lives at risk because you're corrupt and you're dishonest. What is the theory of criminal liability is the question that was posed to the prosecutors, one source said, adding that no answer was forthcoming. Prosecutors went forward in their attempt to indict the members of Congress without naming any violated statute. And Sargent said that it still hasn't been definitively confirmed what statute they used in their ultimately doomed grand jury hearing. So what did they go into the grand jury and say? What statute, what law did they tell the grand jury these people had violated? The failure to name a relevant statute when directly asked to do so by the lawyers of the accused suggests that prosecutors didn't think a criminal prosecution was warranted or doubted there was probable cause to think the Democrats had committed a crime. One of the sources said that prosecutors, neither of whom had much prior experience, but that doesn't exonerate them. That doesn't get them off the hook. They can't go in and say, oh, I knew they were innocent because there's no law they broke, but I tried to secure an indictment against them anyway for crimes that they didn't commit because there was no crime. They're not exonerated by saying they were young or they don't have experience. They learned from law school. They learned from the first days of law school that they have to be honest in their dealings with the court. You can't go to court and lie. Lawyers are under strict guidance that they can't lie in court. That's their rules that they operate by. You can't go into court as a lawyer and lie. And you certainly can't go and lie about people who were innocent and try to, try to make the court believe that they've committed some kind of crime. That's horrible. Imagine living in a society where any of us could be charged with anything or nothing and taken to court and maybe sent to jail for it. That's not the kind of country we live in. That's a banana republic. That's an authoritarian regime, which obviously is what this is, because only authoritarians go into court and do things like this. The MAGA people all say they hate communism, but this is how communist countries are run. That's how they're run. I thought that's what they were against. But if their guy does it, then it's all good. It's all good. Amazing. Really amazing. For the DOJ to seek indictment so soon after conversations like those suggests something or other prompted the rush to indict. Perhaps a word from on high that, let's go way out on a limb here, had little to do with facts and law. That's right. All of this is happening because the president ordered it to happen. These lawyers, though, know that the facts aren't there and the law isn't there to bring an indictment or to accuse these people of a crime. But they did it anyway. And that's why we can all say they're all corrupt, not just Judge Jeanine, not just Jeanine Pirro, but everyone under her. Even these young lawyers without much experience who went in and did this, they are as corrupt as the day is long. Because you don't have to be a lawyer for, by the time you finish law school, you know you can't do this. Even a lot of people know before they go to law school that you can't do this, okay? So being young is not an excuse. Being inexperienced isn't an excuse. These people are all corrupt, no doubt about it. While this effort, so the guy from the New Republic writes, while this effort, like others before it, collapsed in clumsy defeat, Sargent warned that Trump would continue abusing his authority to punish his enemies. And here's where it gets really serious. He wrote and said, there's always bad news in the Trump era, but a dynamic has kicked in that is oddly helpful to him. Thanks to knee-slapping, comic relief-inducing nature of these failures, the authoritarian abuses underlying them risk being seen as less threatening than they are. And that could potentially disarm us for the next round, which will surely come. So much comedy could be made from this. It is a hilarious situation on the one hand, a bunch of bumbling fools going into court accusing people of a crime, and then when asked what the crime is, they don't know. And they're prosecutors. You can make so many jokes about this. If this was a comedy show, I would make a ton of jokes about that. But it's too serious to joke about. Like he says, if we start joking about this kind of stuff, we overlook how corrupt it is and how harmful to our nation it is. We can't live in a country where the president just goes after whoever he wants and we sit back and accept it. We cannot do that. We can never sit back and accept this. We can't get used to it. We can't let ourselves get used to this kind of thing. We can't just sit and laugh about it. We got to remember this is serious stuff. It's very serious stuff. Wow. Anyway, it's hard to believe we're living in a country where this is happening, and it's harder for me to believe as a former conservative and a former Republican all my life that my fellow Republicans are embracing it, because that's what I thought as a Republican, Republicans stood against. And that's what, for many years, for decades, we did stand against. We stood against communism. We stood against all this stuff. And now they are accepting it in our own country. They're embracing it because they love the guy who's doing it. And that's wrong. And that's why I'm not a Republican anymore. So I can't be. I can never associate again with this party as long as all the people who are doing all this are involved in it in any way. I don't care if they come out in 3 years and say, "Oh, we're sorry, we didn't mean it. We're not like that anymore." I don't care. I don't want your apologies. You've done the damage. You're what do they call it? Bad goods? No, you're used goods. No, you're no good. I'll say that. You're no good, and we don't want anything to do with you anymore. Get out of politics, get out of public life. All right. Hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and I will see you again soon. Take care.